Iran was once a land of ancient cities and soaring desert horizons, of poets and scholars, of empire and revolution. But in late 2025, something changed. It began not in the corridors of power, but in the streets. People poured into plazas and alleys across the country, driven not by slogans alone, but by economic desperation, rising prices, and a currency in freefall that ate into life savings. For decades, the nation had lived under strict control, an austere government that brooked little dissent, a society where freedom often came at a price few could afford. When protests erupted in cities from Tehran to Tabriz, they carried a weight unlike before. They were bigger, broader, unifying. But the response was brutal. Security forces opened fire, mass shootings unfolded, entire markets became scenes of massacre, bodies filled bazaars and hospital halls. In early January 2026, in the northern city of Rasht, government forces flooded the historic bazaar, suppressing demonstrators with deadly force. Hundreds, possibly thousands, were killed in just a few days. And then the lights went out, a blackout unlike any before. Almost all internet and phone communication was cut. Teenagers trying to upload photos of protests, shopkeepers trying to call relatives. Entire cities went dark online. The blackout wasn't an accident. It was a tool, a calculated measure to isolate millions, to sever the world from witnessing what was happening on the ground. Some foreign observers later estimated tens of thousands of protesters killed. Others reported government figures much lower, but even the official tallies admitted thousands had died. And then came the war. By early 2026, the crisis escalated far beyond internal unrest. On February 28th, a joint campaign by the United States and Israel struck targets across Iran, hitting military infrastructure and leadership compounds. Suddenly, the conflict that began on city streets had spread into the skies and deserts of the Middle East, airstrikes deep into Iran's cities, missile and drone retaliation across the Gulf region, entire naval engagements reported as the first submarine torpedo strike since World War II sank an Iranian warship. Iran's leadership was shaken deeply. One of the most powerful figures in the nation's history, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, was killed in the early wave of strikes. In the power vacuum that followed, his son, Mojtaba Khamenei, emerged as the leading contender to succeed him, backed by powerful factions within the elite Revolutionary Guards. The Revolutionary Guards, originally formed after the 1979 uprising, have become the strongest force in Iran's political and military landscape. A hardline institution now steering the nation in wartime. The world watched as thousands were displaced, borders tightened, oil prices surged, and once bustling bazaars stood half-empty behind shuttered shops. Some hoped war would force change. Others feared it would bury the future they had once dreamed of. But for many Iranians, caught between protest and repression, battlefields and blackouts, there was only one question left. What comes next? In a land thousands of years old, a new chapter was being written. In fire and silence, some mysteries are solved, some are explained, and some remain exactly where they began, in the dark. If you enjoy real stories told without the noise, subscribe. American Story Vault.